Welcome back and welcome to another wonderful product of nature. Today we're going to be talking about a very special product that is native to Sri Lanka, or formerly known as Ceylon. It dates back to around 2800 BC, and it has a very delicate fragrant and a warm sweet flavor. It's considered one of the strongest and most useful in its category. So let's talk about the delicate cinnamon. There are some spices that come from Mexico, but when we're talking about spices, just like we said in a previous video that the biggest hub of herbs is the Mediterranean, the biggest hub of spices is the South and Southeast Asia. Spices have been proven to be an expensive item in trade throughout history, but 90% of cinnamon comes from Sri Lanka, and actually the highest quality of cinnamon comes from Sri Lanka, because we can also find cinnamon from China, from Indonesia, from Vietnam, but the quality of the cinnamon is of lesser grade. How do we get cinnamon? Cinnamon grows, it's a tree. It has thin barks, long stalks, and it has very short branches with leaves. From the time that the tree is planted, it takes about 4 years until it can be used for cinnamon. And the actual bark of the tree is the cinnamon that we get. Autumn is the season for cinnamon. So far, the whole mechanism is done by hand. The trees are cut very early in the morning because they need to be damp. The leaves are cut off the main barks, but they are not put to waste. The leaves and the small branches, but especially the leaves, they are used to make cinnamon oil. And cinnamon oil is therapeutic. It has a minty taste and an anesthetic effect. Now, the bark which remains is cut in pieces that are manageable for the people who are going to handle it in order to retrieve the cinnamon stripes. You can imagine if I have something like this, this could be like the width of a tree bark, and it's cut into pieces this long, and there is an outer layer of the tree bark. The people who clean these tree barks with special knives, they take off the first stripe, which is thick, and we're going to take a closer look at it in a little bit. So there is a clean tree bark that is left. And what they do is they start scraping the bark, so the bark is actually coming off in stripes. As I said, these trees need to be cut early in the morning because they need to be damp, because we want the inside of the bark to be wet. The stripes come out, and these stripes are immediately put in the sun to dry, and within minutes they turn inside, creating this shape which is known to us as cinnamon. They curl inside themselves, so we have this shape. Now, after we get this, the inside is also filled with small bits of cinnamon that were cut off or that are not long enough to stand on their own. The filling of the cinnamon sticks increases their quality. Of course, as we said, Sri Lanka has the highest quality of cinnamon. After they are left to dry, they're really left to dry in the sun. And then they are put in bundles and they are taken into the grading center, let's say, so that they can be graded as far as their quality goes, so that they can go for sale. Now, cinnamon, as it comes from the bark, it's wet, it's soft, it has a peppery taste, a sweet peppery taste. But one thing to remember is that it takes a day's work in order to produce less than 2 kilos, or 1.5 kilos or 3 pounds of cinnamon. So it's really hard work, and the more delicate the work, the higher the quality of the cinnamon and the higher the price, of course. So let's take a closer look at cinnamon. I believe this is the cinnamon that we all know. Now this is a lesser grade cinnamon, and the lesser grade is called cassia. It is darker in color and it's hollow, so there's no filling in it. You can see that the shape is they don't all look the same shape, and it has a milder taste. This is the outer bark. This is also sold. This would be the cheapest cinnamon that we can find in the market. It's the outer layer of the tree. There's nothing wrong. I mean, it's the outer layer. It's been exposed to different conditions, maybe climate conditions. It's protecting the bark, so it's rough. It's the first layer that's been striped out, so it's sold this way, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a matter of choice. Now this here is the high quality Sri Lanka cinnamon. It's called Alba. It's the highest quality grade. It takes 4 times more work than other grades, and this is what they call real cinnamon. And here you can see how the inside is filled. And by the way, it's a lot lighter than this one. It's a lot more expensive. It has more delicate work, and you can see how this would be rougher and this would be more tidy in work. Now, what is left over broken down into pieces can be sold as lower grade, or it can be sold as the cinnamon that we all know, which is the powdered cinnamon. And powdered cinnamon, by the way, is the most used cinnamon of all. Make sure you read the label on the powdered cinnamon you get, because in some countries it is demanded by law that it needs to be designated as cassia and not as ground cinnamon. The cassia, which is the lower grade, and not the alba, which is the top grade cinnamon. So, is it good to include cinnamon in our diet, yes or no? Again, spices, just like herbs, fit both in the kitchen cabinet and the medicine cabinet. And this designates that they have high therapeutic effect, and they are quite important to include in our diet. Now, cinnamon, like all spices, has defense mechanism components for the plant itself. So this anesthetic effect that it has, the pepperish taste, etc., it's a defense mechanism for the actual tree so that animals won't go and eat it. Its components basically protect the plant from being destroyed by small microorganisms. But what about for the humans? Cinnamon, like many spices, fights fungus, it fights candida, especially throughout the entire digestive tract and the oral cavity. It fights infections, viruses, It helps a lot with oral hygiene. It's good for skin health, and it fights several harmful pathogens that may develop on the skin. Studies show that it lowers blood sugar and it increases insulin sensitivity. It fights against diseases like cancer. It reduces allergy symptoms. It's anti-inflammatory. It's considered an aphrodisiac. And something very well known in many traditions is that cinnamon, when added to the diet, it relieves menstrual cramps. So what are some easy ways to include cinnamon in our nutrition, in our diet? In Western cultures, cinnamon is most used in desserts, especially when we make a syrup, any type of syrup. We usually add some cinnamon in it. In dishes like a fruit salad, it usually goes with more with sweet dishes than sour dishes. But the fact is that cinnamon is used so much in so many dishes and in so many cuisines, actually, you know, whether they're European, Mediterranean, African, Asian, of course. So you know, it's not that hard to include cinnamon in our diet. A very simple way is to make tea out of it, you know, just either use a stick or even just a pinch of cinnamon on your tea before you drink it. Or you can just stir some cinnamon in hot water, let it cool, then just drink it, or add some honey and drink it. It goes very well with honey. So what are some last tips regarding cinnamon? First of all, use it often. I mean, just like herbs, you don't have to use the same spice every day, but use spices in your diet every day. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, have I added any spice in my food today? It's easy to keep. You just buy it, you keep it in a jar, and you keep it in a pantry. The sticks actually can last up to 2-3 years. And you know, nothing will happen. The powder can last up to a year, and you can always, you know, taste and see if they're okay. You can smell it. It always smells fabulous. As far as calories concerned, I don't even want to mention that, because a whole teaspoon has about 6 calories, so that doesn't really, you know, load our caloric intake. It has plethora of benefits, and remember, the closer we are to nature, the healthier we are. This is the end of this video. If you like the content, please hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified of every new video that is posted. Join our Facebook group for more details and discussions so your questions and comments can be answered. And also look for us in other social media, and you'll find some beautiful photos of all these products on Pinterest. So thank you, and see you next time.